Today, I want to just encourage everybody that things have let up a little bit. Things aren't quite as intense, but that these energies, these transits, these conjunctions are still in play. I know many of us have had some unpredictable things take place that have just been really intense. I know personally I have. And trying to navigate it, trying to bring things into a place where you're keeping your sanity, you're keeping your faculties, your balance, not being swung with the masses with the bullshit that's going on. I mean, it's just going to be one thing after another from here on out. So it's just keep yourself balanced, keep yourself in the Libra gate. Keep yourself, with the feather and the heart, keeping things balanced, keeping things, in flow, in connection, to keep control of your own energy force. We don't need to be swung with the masses back and forth with all the bullshit that's going on, the get out and vote shit and all that, people are going to vote, but I personally don't vote, but that's my personal opinion. I think it's all bullshit personally. I think it's just a barometer for the dark ones to look at to see how polarized the population is and where things are at. I think they use all kinds of methods to gauge the energy of the collective in context to action, because that's how cosmic law works. So these transits that are happening are all about us taking advantage of them and allowing those processes to take place within ourselves to level up our consciousness and to break forth into new territory of consciousness within ourselves, awakening from within, not just what we're seeing around us on the outside, but actually the awakening is about knowing who you are. So that's the real awakening. All the other bullshit's distraction. They throw it in movies, they throw the 22 out in movies all the time, and all kind of occult symbols that they throw out to let you know they're still in control. But anybody who has to do that, of course, we know the dark ones are very narcissistic, and a lot of them are very draconian. The factions that are here in context, we're dealing with a lot of the Syrian A, B shit now, man, in context to, where we've been and to the gate being opened up and, what's, jurisdiction and all this shit. Well, fuck their jurisdiction. Fuck all the alien shit. It's all been here for a very, very long fucking time. And everybody needs to get over it because it's all about knowing who you are. Everything else becomes a distraction. You want to go ahead and get in contact with the Arcturians or all this bullshit, there's not any difference. The Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Andromedans, all these galactic spiral stuff, it's all in here. It's all within the human race. Until the human race figures that out, that it's all within us on a collective level, we're still going to be raked out. We're going to be swung with the masses on the law of rhythm with the pendulum swing. And our choices are going to be out of alignment, and we're going to continue to create karmic debt for ourselves as a human race. So, so on an individual level, we got to get it together, and we are getting it together, and we're moving forward. But in these transits really help us in context to high planetary alchemy, transmutation, and transfiguration, the process. And your brain waves have a lot to do with that, which is what I kind of want to get into today, because the brain waves, or your brain, is your radar. It's where everything runs through. It's not your mind, it's your radar. So all of the unconscious, subconscious aspects and within there are running from your nervous system, or your central nervous system, your sympathetic and parasympathetic aspect, in context to where your vagus nerve is being attacked. Basically, it's being manipulated, and so the vagus nerve runs to the 10th cranial nerve. 10th gate, Capricorn, take it back to Saturn. All the inversions, all the bullshit, and where all the trauma-based stuff lies in context to your vagus nerve. So that's why it's so important to understand how to find the balance and harmony and not allow anxiety and not have your life be based on adrenal-based life, where you're in fight, flight, or freeze mode in context to the reptilian energies that are rampant upon the planet. We have to come out of that mindset, and we have to come into a space where our mind field is actually breaking through those barriers that have been set up in context to the ethers. So we've got all these barriers set up because nobody knows how to get into a gamma state with their mind, with their mind field. You know, we're all in the delta beta aspect, and we don't know how to move into a theta state and then into a gamma state in context to very, very high consciousness, that you're able then to use the gamma waves of your mind field, using your brain as the radar, to break through certain aspects that have been locking you down. And, and this is why people use hallucinogenics and stuff like that to kind of try to open things up, kind of try to open up their eye, the eye of their heart, the eye of their mind, and the pineal gland, the portal between dimensions, that type of thing. So what I want to talk about is this aspect today with Pluto and Neptune, this sextile that's been going on since the 40s. So we've had this sextile been happening now since the 40s, because a lot of the indigo incarnations are coming in during this transit, and so we're starting to see that this Plutonian energy in context to what they released in 44 and 45 on Japan, in context to the explosions that took place, the nuclear explosions that took place on the planet, which opened up certain aspects, or certain aspects with wormhole stuff, man, with crazy shit that took place with that, to counteract the incarnations of the indigos coming in. See, this is how deep this shit goes, man, and people don't realize it. And now it's, we're dealing with the CERN technology, which is wormhole technology, in context to, stopping the stellar activations and the incarnations from coming in context to what's being seeded by us here. Yeah, I said us, because we are seeding here, guys. That's what you got to keep in mind. We are seeding for the next generation. So, and down the line, 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, this is how we have to start thinking in context to the big picture, and that's the Piscean energy. Piscean energy is the big picture. Plutonian energy is the transmutation process in context to bringing things up from, what's been overlaid and hidden, and breaking that out, allowing that water to be reprogrammed. And so, we're dealing with a huge alchemical process taking place with this particular transit that's been going on now since the 40s. So all the Neptune aspect in your chart then becomes very important in context to what aspects Neptune and what aspects Pluto. Because with this particular transit that, we've been coming in on, and incarnations have been coming in on, in context to, those who are here to actually help and incarnated into the human race. Oh, wow. It's a big crane. Beautiful crane that just blew by here. Wow. That's cool. 2 of them. Wow. Beautiful. Birthing the baby, right? So in context to, how we are, how we're navigating the 12th and 8th gates. So when you look at your chart, you can look at what is congruent, what's opposing, what's squared, what's conjunct, your Neptune and Plutonian energies in context to how you're wielding your purpose here, and the things that you need to overcome on an individual basis to have the inner awakening to know who you are, but also what your purpose is to the collective consciousness, because Neptune and Pluto are collective planets. And depending on what gate they are in to your own templating is a lot of where your purpose lies in context to, transits and placings of planets, and then running those planets to the gates. So looking at that, it's like for me personally, I have Neptune opposing my sun. So it's in direct opposition to my sun, and so this brings up an interesting thing with me, because having to work through all the Piscean energy and all the deep hidden stuff that is there, that's opposing my sun, my ego, my soul, my will force. So being a Pisces moon, that has a huge effect, because my Piscean energy runs from my moon to my Chiron to my Saturn, right? And then take it to my Neptune, which is in Scorpio, running that to the second house, to my sun, which is in second house, which is running through to the eighth house. So you see how the circuit works in context to how everything circuits through that 8th and 12th gates with us. So the 8th and 12th gates are very much hijacked in context to that. Because of this purpose, we have to look at our templating on a solar spiral level to be able to gauge what it is exactly our purpose is here to accomplish, not only within our own inner awakening again, but also to the collective in context to that, and that wields a higher purpose. And so this is how it works with these 8 and 12 gates. So when we see certain aspects coming in on transits, to our natal aspect with Neptune, with Pluto, and we're having these squares off with our moon, and these squares off with our sun, or these oppositions with our moon or oppositions with our sun in context to our natal chart, that's when the work begins to happen. That's when we are able to really break through things, or break things open off the overlays. And same thing with Saturn. If you want to throw Saturn in there as well, Saturn square your moon, Saturn square your sun, Saturn square your north node, your south node, your 4 pillars, Saturn square your ascendants. So you're dealing with certain aspects there in context to delays and limitations that you need to go ahead and look at to bring things into a higher position within your own self, to know who you are and your internal awakening, and then being able to work with those energies to break through, so you can flip Saturn into a place where it's actually working with you and not against you. So you're taking the inversions and you're flipping, you're flipping the magnet on it. So instead of it working against you, now the Saturn energies are working with you. And so this is how we work with the transits. It's very, very actually you can really simplify this stuff. It doesn't have to be overly complicated. It can get, because astrology can get very complicated. But trying to keep it simple is better, because then you can really hone in on certain aspects that are going to benefit you and that are going to help you in context to these transits. So we have to get out of the mindset that the planetary spiral is working against us, because it's, the solar spiral is working against us, because it's not. It's actually helping us. And it's working with us to ride out the energies. It's just that the dark ones use it on the inversions to work it against us in context to the pendulum swing and how we get swung, by the psyops and by the bullshit that happens, that they throw out and spin out every day or every week. It's always something new. It's not new. There's nothing new, but it's always the same bullshit. It's just packaged different. So looking at your transits in context to the Neptune, the 12th and the 8th gates is very important, because this particular aspect is going to really, open up certain things within your knowledge base that you can then put into action and actually bring wisdom into your life, and then know why certain things happen, why you were targeted at a young age, why certain things happened to you as you were growing up. I can look back and see where my moon was very much up, and squared off with my Pluto energy. So Pluto came in and it squared off with my natal moon. So that particular energy, then you start to see it. Or my moon came in and squared off with the Plutonian energy, whatever, happen either way. It's probably moon transit because it's the fastest, but again, it happens. And so this is deep psychological thought and emotion that is coming up for review in context to the square and the tension that it's creating. So so just going through certain aspects with the 12th and 8th gates, same thing with the Neptune energy. Right now, Neptune's transiting, I have this Neptune transit with my moon. And so it's been going on now for months and months and months and months and months. And I've been having to work with the shamanic energy to level up my not only my abilities, but also what's been coming up for review from past incarnations and past, even my childhood, all the way up through the process to the present. And then being able to deal with that, look at it in context to the big picture of what's going on, and then bring things into a place where I'm leveling up my shamanic abilities, my psychic abilities in context to what Neptune represents. And because, Neptune's a very psychic planet. So, we are definitely in this together, as, what you are, what you're here to do. You're here to master the human consciousness. You're here to master this physical technology. We're here to master the emotional intelligence. We're here to master the heart core intelligence. Bring things into alignment in context to our mind and our state of mind, and wield the energy for us correctly, so we can have the impact of breaking through with the gamma brain waves in context to breaking through the fucking barriers of the ethers, because it's the gamma waves that break through the barriers, man. So getting into a theta state is it's a state of, it's your sleep state when you're getting ready to fall asleep, but to be able to operate in that space on a conscious level, keeping yourself in between that beta theta space where it's like a cup of water. To get to gamma, you just need a few drops and it's going to overflow, and that's where the manifestation takes place. So the gamma waves are actually the waves of manifestation. And so, this is why the circle of the magician becomes important, because you can draw it and then you can step into your theta aspect, get into it, and then add the water in context to all the transformation that you want to see take place in your life. Add the water to the full cup, and then once it starts to overflow and you come into those gamma brain waves, then you're breaking through certain barriers with the ether, and manifestation can take place. So anyway, so this is kind of what's going on with this 8th and 12th gate activations that are taking place. When they happen with your transits, they're actually activations. And even though the solar spiral isn't intact, it's still there to help us. It still has power. The energies are still running through the ethers. And this is how we gauge our own transits and our own psychological makeup and aspect and disposition to our purpose, because, your purpose lies, a lot of people say your purpose lies with your north node, your North Star. And that is true, in context to where things need to go. But that also plays a part. All the 12th and 8th gates also play a part in that, because these are the gates of transformation and the shamanic gates. So each gate that you go up through, from the 8th gate, which is the transformation gate, from the 7th gate, which is the, getting into the space of Libra, and vision and being able to come into wisdom. And then to the ninth gate, accessing your heart core intelligence and the galactic center of Sagittarius, where we find our Jupiter energies, which are the gamma energies in context, if you really want to look at it, to the ninth gate and our Sagittarian energies, and then taking it to the manifestation after that water's being put in. When you start to look at the Scorpio and the water begins to put into the cup, and the manifestation, the cup runs over, and then the manifestation takes place because your heart core is opened up, the intelligence, and then you can go to that 10th gate, which is where everything's manipulated in context to the Capricorn energies or Saturnian energies on the inversion. And this is why we have to flip it, because we want to begin to manifest in context to earth magic what it is that we want to see in the reality field. And then how to construct that to the 11th gate is how to put everything together. And then the 12th gate is the big picture of how it's going to be used and how the impact that it's going to have, not only on your own individual life, but the collective consciousness. So, dealing with this Uranus transit, it is the 11th gate. So it's all about how we're constructing something, how we're putting everything together in the physical world, and what changes that we want to make into that physical world with our physical self, our surroundings, and as within, because vibrational correspondence, as within as without, is always in play, to our choices and what we actually choose in context to cause and effect. So as long as they have the masses on the pendulum swing, the cause and effect of the reality field is going to be in their favor. So this is why, the awakening isn't about what you're seeing on the outside, it's what you're seeing on the inside. And it's about knowing who you are, because we all still don't know totally who we are yet, or why we're here. We have inklings and we have purpose and we can kind of see it, but your North Node, your MC line, and then the 12th and 8th gates in context to this, into this transit are all a part of that, so you can see the big picture on the solar spiral of what the purpose is, to how your disposition is and how you're wielding the energy force. It's different for everyone. No one has the same chart. So I just want to kind of throw that information out there, and hope everybody is having an awesome week, and continue on with leveling up, forging forth, forging the fire within, and the alchemical process that's continuing on for us. So much love, everyone. Blue Pearl Oracle. If you want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me at heartcoreproductions.com. You can hit me up on Facebook at Rodney Goodwin, or you can go to the Heartcore Productions Facebook page, or you can email me at heartcoreproductions9@gmail.com. If you're interested in looking at your transits, if you're interested in looking at certain aspects that we can go through on your chart in context to your purpose and your own personal awakening, and then your awakening and your purpose to the collective consciousness as well. So, all right, much love, everyone. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon.